just envisioning what the wide receiver room and what the offense would look like if DeAndre Hopkins was added to this roster, he would be your starting X receiver, which would move Amari Cooper into the Z role, where he's best at. You can use him all over the field. And then Elijah Moore would be your slot receiver. Now, the good news is here, and again, I talk about this all the time, versatility is something that Andrew Berry loves. Now, would I play DeAndre Hopkins as a slot receiver? No. I think that's dumb. Would I play him as a Z receiver primarily? No. I think that's dumb. But you have that ability if you want to with all three of these guys. Other than Elijah Moore, I really wouldn't throw Elijah Moore as your X receiver. But just as a starting lineup at your receiver position, or as receiving threats, I should say, DeAndre Hopkins, Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore with David Njoku. I mean, that is insane. That is absolutely insane. And behind them, you're looking at Donovan Peoples-Jones, who, if this deal were to happen, there is a lot of speculation that DPJ would be traded. And I've talked about DPJ a lot. That would not shock me. And I've told you why. I've pounded the table for that over and over again. You're not going to pay him. He's going to be worth a lot on the open market. And in a trade, I don't think he would be worth a ton. When I say on the open market, I mean as a free agent. But in terms of a trade, you probably could get a fourth for DPJ, if not more, possibly for a team that's desperate for a receiver like him, because there's not a lot of those types of receivers in the NFL. But assuming that DPJ weren't going to get traded, your wide receiver room would probably look like DeAndre Hopkins, Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, DPJ, Marquise Goodwin, David Bell, and Cedric Tillman. That's probably what your wide receiver room would shake out to be, keeping 7 receivers, which would be something that I don't think the Browns have done in a long time. I think we've always kept like 6, but it makes sense because all we've heard all offseason, Jimmy wants to pass more. Jimmy Haslam wants to move the offense, more of a downfield attacking offense. And everything we've seen out of OTAs, everything we've seen as far as clips and, within the media, that's the truth. And the Browns, keeping Jerome Ford as the number 2 running back, not that I'm not a fan of Jerome Ford. I love Jerome Ford. I think he's going to be awesome. But I would not rely on him. I would not completely put full confidence in him unless you're not planning on being a run-first team. And, we're still a ways away a little bit here from the Hall of Fame game, from the preseason and everything like that. But I don't think, and I've heard that the Browns feel good about the running back situation. So if that is the case, that tells me they're going a complete passing game. And what that looks like is not heavy usage of tight ends, which is crazy to say when Kevin Stefanski's the offensive coordinator and head coach. But I think the offense is going to look drastically different. So you could see a lot more four wide. You could see a lot more different usage as far as using your receiving threats, whether that be Atkins, Njoku, or your wide receivers, or using a running back out of the backfield. The Browns are going to come up with different ways to move the football through the air. And I think that's a good thing, but it's also, it is a bit concerning, for me, just because, Nick Chubb is your go-to guy, but extending his career is the smartest thing you can do. And taking, believe it or not, I know a lot of Browns fans will hate this, taking the ball out of his hands a little bit and opening up the passing game will actually help Nick Chubb out, because then the run game is that much more effective, because Nick Chubb is a damn good football player. He's always going to be a great football player. And first of all, he can catch the football. I don't know where this narrative came that Nick Chubb is just a specific run threat, right? Nick Chubb can also catch the ball. He's not Alvin Kamara. He's not Christian McCaffrey, but he can catch the ball. right? He's not a scrub as far as a receiving threat himself. I want to make that clear. Now, would I make him a receiving threat? No. But you get the point. He can do it.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at TheDawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at TheDawgsPodcast.com.